Hey, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to dive in on my sewing projects. I want to share with you a project that I've completed as well as giving you my critiques of my own sewing on this project. And I want to share what my next project will be. But first, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Celeste, and on my channel I like to talk about my life as a wifepreneur. That includes my businesses that I'm involved in and my hobbies, and one of those happens to be sewing. So I would love for you and I would like to invite you to subscribe right now and click that notification bell so that you are notified of other videos I upload typically on Saturdays. So let's dive into what I've been doing sewing wise. I completed the pattern that I shared in my last video, the New Look 6529, and I made view C. So I tried this on yesterday for my husband, and as I mentioned in that previous video, this is the first clothing item that I have sewn probably in 20 years. I used to make a lot of my clothing as a first-year teacher in a public school system where, we don't make very much money doing that. So, but then I got out of the habit, and so I've kind of gotten back into it. So I tried this on for my husband yesterday and just said, hey, how do you like my new shirt? And so we are not spending any money this month on clothing. And so he's like, well, where did you get this? And I said, I made it. And he's like, no way. That looks like you bought it from the store. So this is the first time I've made something clothing-wise, even for him to see. So I was really, it really made me feel good. When you get those compliments that you're not, encouraging or not trying to get somebody to say something like that. So I was really, really thankful for that. But let me show you what it looks like. I learned a lot along the way, and I want to share some of those. It's not perfect. This was supposed to be like my muslin piece. This was fabric that my mother had in her stash when I went to take care of her earlier this year. And so there are some things that I've learned and reminded myself that I had forgotten. So let you look at the finished piece. And it is supposed to be long because it's supposed to be for your leggings. And as I mentioned in the previous video, I've ironed it, so I really like it. It looks much better than when I showed it to you in the last video. But as I mentioned in the last video, I know that my neckline is not perfect down here. I have a lot of perfecting to do. And so I need to watch a few more sewing tutorials on how to do that. But from a distance, I don't think that it looks bad. What do you think? Some of you have been sewing necklines and really have gotten this down. I would love to hear your suggestions on how to really make that more accurate and perfected. But from a distance, I think it looks good. If anybody is this close to me looking at it, they need to be slapped because they don't need to be that close to me, especially right here. As I put this on yesterday, I did notice that I needed to bring up the hem in my sleeves, maybe another 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go back and do that. And then, sewing needles are so important. Sewing needles are for particular types of fabric. And I know that, but I was working on something else and I forgot to change my needle. So my hem has like a little bit of, you can't see it really right here unless you hold it up like this. I don't know if you can kind of see a little wave there, and maybe I can press it out, but it was just a good reminder that I need to be more mindful of my needles, especially if I'm, changing between projects. But it's supposed to be long. It's supposed to be for your leggings. So I'm really pleased. Initially, I thought maybe just wearing around the house, but after my husband's compliment, I might be brave enough to wear this, maybe to the grocery store and back, kind of like a Saturday kind of casual type. So that is what I did. I am looking forward to really making the one with the hoodie, but not quite as long in the back. I don't like it that long. I do like where it's shorter in the front than in the back, but not this where it has like a tail, in what I call it, a tail. So I will be looking for fabric that I have currently in my stash to see what I can put together. Maybe I was even thinking doing a solid color here and then maybe a coordinating fabric for the sleeves that matches the hoodie. And I think right there you can see there is a pocket. So making the sleeves pocket and the hoodie like in a print, and then the body, the bodice area, more in a solid color. I don't know. So we'll just kind of see what that will look like in the future. But overall, I'm very pleased with the directions. Were fairly easy. This would be for, you know, not a beginner, but someone that maybe has constructed a few clothing pieces. So what I'm planning on working on next is my apron that I shared, the church ladies apron pattern. And this has been out a while. Again, this was from my mother's stash. I went shopping and didn't pay anything for the pattern, but I went ahead and got it. This is a reversible pattern, and I'm planning to use this fabric here. We love college football in our home, and I typically cheer for OU. Let me do it the right way. And this initially, I purchased it many, many years ago. It's licensed fabric from Joann's, and I purchased it to make pajama pants because I had, back in the day, probably 10 years ago, I had pajama pants for different themes, football and just kind of lounging around on Saturday kind of pants. And so I had, I think, probably 3 yards of this. But then last year, 2020, a lot of my friends from Oklahoma, because I don't live there anymore, still root for the team as I do, and they were needing masks, and they asked me, you know, do you have anything that you can make a mask for? And so I said, I have this fabric, you're welcome to it. And so I made several masks for them to be used as they were doing their healthcare jobs. So the pattern only takes 1 yard of it, and I'm looking for my piece of paper here. It takes 1 yard for the front and 1 yard for the back. So it's to be reversible. Now I'm really trying to sew from the stash that I have, and I was hoping to find maybe like a black or a white, maybe off-white, but I didn't have anything for the back of it. So what I'm going to do is, I think I have 2 yards still left of this. I was make the front and the back the same, just to kind of get the feel of the pattern. And you know, won't truly be reversible because it's a saying, but at least I'll use up some of my fabric that I really don't have any other ideas to use for this. And it'll be great to use on Saturdays when I make our Saturday food. Today, Saturday, we are going to be doing chicken wings and coleslaw. And so I'll be doing chicken wings in the air fryer, and we have the games going on, all the TVs, and it's a lot of fun. My husband and I just really enjoy that quite a bit. So that's what I'm doing. What I did not like about the pattern so far is I did like that it was printed on heavier paper. I do like that rather than the tissue paper. But as you can see here, the directions were attached around the pieces. And so, not that it's necessarily a bad thing, it's different than what I'm used to, and I just really hope that I do not lose these after I make the pattern pieces. Also, or the pattern. And also did not like that the pattern pieces are not numbered. Not that it makes a difference in the layout, because it's very clear, place on the fold, etc. But if I make this again, I want to make sure that I have all my pattern pieces and that I haven't misplaced one of them. In this pattern, there are only 4 pieces, but then randomly in between all the pattern pieces, they had this particular directions that a 1/4 inch seam allowance is included on the pattern pieces, which I really would have wished or hoped they would have put it up here. Maybe they do, and I haven't read it yet. But so that's kind of just the one negative thus far. I will sew it up and let you know what I think about the pattern. If it was easy to do, I think it will be easy, but I will give you my honest opinion after I actually sew it up. So that is my next project. It's still available on Amazon. I will link that down below. I did not purchase it from Amazon. I purchased it from a local quilter in Texas, a quilt shop. And so again, It was from many, many years ago. My mother and I went in together to buy the pattern because she was going to make it for some friends and I was going to make it for gifts for some of my employees at the time. So that's where we purchased it. So that is what's been going on in my neck of the woods for sewing and in my sewing corner over here. I would love to see your projects. I will include my Instagram handle down below. Please post what you've been working on, as well as sending me a little message. You can show me your pictures. I really, really would love to see what you've been working on. And if you have any suggestions on how to get that neckline right, please include those in the comments below. So until next time, happy sewing, and I can't wait to show you if this turns out really well. So talk to you later. Bye-bye.